Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu. Telliano, is that you?
Hi, 265.
This is episode 265 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story. It's where you can get access to Mic Check Manga, Take Talks, and other bonus content over on patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu. Mic Check Waifu is brought to you by the Patreon producers. They support us at the Weeb tier. Shout out to the Patreon producer, Christian, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Saphir, Glazed Yams, J. Lee Trey from Shogo Ha, Ked the Pro from Chaotic Culture and Shogo Ha, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Mazer, Altor, Monique Williams, Nachi, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. Thank y'all so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We couldn't do it without y'all. It means the world to us. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast is brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We had to take another week off, and I'm just gonna get it out off the top right now. We took the week off because, unfortunately and unexpectedly, I lost my best friend, which is my dog Saber. He was 11. It was definitely unexpected. But shout out to the community for supporting the community and my family for supporting me and helping me get to the point where I'm able to get him back later, which should be sometime this week, actually, get him back. And I'm thankful for everybody that supported me. Shout out to everybody that donated to help with that. A special shout out to my guy, Scuba Steve. What you did means the world to me, and it means everything. So thank you, Scuba Steve, from Inside the Mind of a Blur and Blur Mind Productions. Thank you so much for that support. We appreciate it over here at the Polow family. Now, it's been a rough week for me. I'm still kind of getting over it, but I was able to get over it because of not only the support of y'all and the well wishes and stuff, but anime and actually manhwa. It helped a lot. It helped out big time. So thankfully for that. Without that, I don't know. And obviously my girlfriend, she's been incredible, even though she's been struggling too. But we here, we here, and we ready to make it through it. I know it won't get easier. I know it won't get better, but it will get different. And I just have to be strong enough for it to get different. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, tell all the somber and sad stuff out the way. How you feeling?
I'm good. It's been a solid week for me. I will say, while I know that I personally have been okay, I do always feel like empathetic for my brother over there. You know what I mean? So y'all know how that is. But that's just, I know I'm not the one dealing with it. It's been a good week for me. I went in the backyard. We pulled weeds that have not been pulled for basically, I'm gonna say 9 months, and them weeds was about as thick as a tree. They literally had bark on them. I was like, oh my God. But we got the whole backyard situated because it was a lot going on back there. But it's been a good week. I showed Polow, but I got into my Blender bag. I have not touched anything like Blender or done anything that's 3D design oriented since my freshman year of college. like not digital 3D design. I've done 3D design, just not digital 3D design.
Right.
So that was interesting. That was fun. Maybe I'll throw it on Patreon just so y'all can see the like video I made or whatever. But other than that, yeah, bro, it's been a good week. I got Monique to watch Paranoia Agent with me this week, and
interesting.
I forgot how actually good that anime was. If this was the beginning of the podcast and I had just watched that, like, 5 years ago, if this is the beginning of the podcast and I had just watched that definitely would have been like my top 10, maybe top 5. Just because I forgot how like psychologically intriguing it was. But other than that, it's been a solid week, bro.
Dope. All right, we got a big episode for y'all today. This episode might be a little massive. We're gonna try to keep it trim because we got a lot to talk about. We are doing our mid-season review and our midterms for the summer season. So for those of you who are unawares, let me go to what our review is. Our review, I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot the name of it. Alderman. Yeah, Alderman something.
Alderman on the Sky.
Alderman on the Sky. Yes, we are reviewing Alderman on the Sky for these midterms. The recommendation comes from our Patreon producer, All for One Matt. Now remember, you don't have to be a Patreon producer to give recommendations for us to review. Just join the Discord, and we always post a thread of the stuff we plan on reviewing for the when we are ready to review stuff for the mid season. So yeah, we're going to do that review, and we're also going to do the midterms, including the grades that our community has gave us for their summer midterm so far. Now, for those of you who are unaware, every season we do midterm grades to see where the summer season has fallen within past seasons. So we're going to be talking about the shows, what we think about them at this point in time. It's a little bit past halfway because we didn't record last week, but so it's a little bit past halfway. So the grades are kind of skewed, but we like to get that nice midway break to see where we fall on how we feeling about the season so far. And then when we get to the end of the season, we kind of talk about where lies there. So before we get into that though, Tell, what was your episode of the last 2 weeks? Episodes, I should say.
Well, so this week it has to be Oshi No Ko, because I feel like you will choose I feel like I know what you're going to choose. And then other than that, it's the previous one would have been Wisteria, Wand and Sword.
Oh, Wisteria?
Yeah.
If it was last week, Wisteria, or do you mean this week?
Last week, Wisteria. This week, Oshi No Ko.
Okay. For me, last week, Alya sometimes has her feelings in Russia. And this week, it is Makeine A, Too Many Losing Heroines.
Mm-hmm.
Show is incredible. God. It just keeps proving why it's the best show this summer season for me personally. It's in it's top 3, and it's not 2 or 3 for me this particular season. It honestly, it blows my mind at how different it is, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, before we get into the start to like our the midterm grades and stuff from the community and as well as ours, I do want to say I did read a manhwa. Okay. Mm-hmm. Been reading a bunch of manhwa. It's been I don't know, it's been what's the word I'm looking for? It's been a good place for me to escape. So it's been fantastic. I've read so many. But I'm not gonna talk about them as far as the other ones I read, because those are different. But the one that I read that stuck out to me the most is this one called Quest Supremacy.
Okay.
Dog, this shit is so. I did not think it was going to be this good. I thought it was going to be another one of those soul leveling like clones, but it's different. Very, 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 very different. Like big different. So what Quest Supremacy is? It's a manhwa about a kid who starts off getting bullied. Obviously, he gets bullied to no end, and they treat him like shit until. And he's talking to his best friend. No, he was talking to the bullies, and the bullies was like, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, and this is like the first chapter. He was like, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, a quest menu pop up and he starts to kick our ass or some shit like that, talking about the kid that they were bullying. And the kid was like, and after they bullied him, they walked away, and he was like, I wish something like that would happen to me. And he just kept yelling, quest, 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 quest. Until this quest windows pop up. And it says, you know, do this quest or blah, blah, blah. Now, long story short, what quest supremacy is about the kid that gets bullied, who gets access to this quest system. And when he does quest, he gets cards. And these cards he can use to upgrade himself, or I don't want to get into too much what the cards do, but the cards are very, very important to what it is in the show. And what happens is he used the cards to upgrade himself enough. Like for example, okay, this is good. For example, he gets the card to a jab card, so he knows how to throw an accurate jab, just like the best boxers in the world. And that's the only attack card that he has. So now he beats up one of the bullies, and to the point where the main head bully of the entire school comes to him and say, you know, let's be friends. And he starts to be friends with the bully, but then he get a quest, and the quest tells him to then beat up that said number one bully in that school. And through that, he tries to find ways to, because the actual bully is a real boxer, not really a real boxer, but learned boxing or whatever, amateur boxer, if you will.
Yeah, he throws hands.
So he's trying to find ways that he can beat him. And if he fails this quest, he loses the quest window, and he loses all the cards he gained up until that point. So he decides that he's going to try to fight him. And when he does, it's epic. He wins. And this is where you found out that the school, the city that they're in is split up into 4 different sections. It's like East Gambuk Uk. It's a Korean name. So it's like East High, West High, South High, and North High. And they're all split up into these different gang territories. And he becomes the leader of West High. And then slowly he builds, because he beat up the main bully, and slowly he starts to build a team. And as he's building his team, he has to recruit people to his team, and he can get cars for them, and he can upgrade them as well.
That's immediately what I was thinking.
Yeah, and it's so fire. It's 151 chapters out right now. I read all of them. It is fantastic. It's a fantastic growth story with a great cast of characters that you definitely root for. And it gets fucking crazy, like actually crazy. So it's one I can recommend for sure. Quest Supremacy, check it out. It's definitely one of my favorite ones that I've read probably since I picked up Solo Leveling. Like, it's that good. It's really, 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 really good. So I'm loving it. What's funny is that it has this trope. It has this trope that where almost every other panel, a runner or a messenger comes in and says, hey boss, something's happening. Talk about another school or something like that. And it becomes so funny that and sometimes it breaks the fourth wall. Like, why does this guy always brings bad news? And it's just this guy busting through the door. It's such a great model. I enjoyed it very, very much. I'm still enjoying it. It's still ongoing, but I'm fully caught up now, and I'm week to week, and it's pissing me off.
Saudi.
Definitely Saudi, because it's super, super good. So Quest Supremacy, make sure y'all check that out. Okay, so now, what should we do? Should we do the viewer? I don't know how we do this different almost every time we do the midterms. Do we do the viewers first and do ours? I think we do, don't we?
Yeah, let's do the viewers first. That's what we normally do.
Okay. Let's start with the viewers. If you, again, join the Discord, discord.mikecheckwaifuwaifu.com. You can join the Discord, and every time that we have a thread up, just post what you think and we'll share it on the show. Or you can post on the YouTube video like Rob Stone did, which he missed this week, unfortunately. But here we go. Grace for the summer. We're going to start off with J. Lee Trey from Shogo Ha podcast. Make sure you check out the Shogo Ha podcast. There's shirts, Shogo Ha, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you give those guys a listen. All of them are great over there. They do good work. So make sure you check them out. Okay. He says, all J. Lee Trey says is failure frame. I went in with no expectations, and wow, what a show. Current grade so far, solid B. The potential for an A is kind of high though. I think if that's all he's watching, he's giving it a B plus for failure frame. Now, yeah, maybe we can interweave what we think about a show here while we do this, right? So let's do that. So failure frame for me, Tell, was bad. But again, I am invested. I'm very much invested in the overall story. The show is bad, but I'm invested in the overall story. The reason being is because it's a get back story. I love get back stories. Get back stories are so much fun to watch or read or whatever the case may be. They're just so much fun. So I'm here for the get back. However, the most recent episode, which was episode 6, seems to have been a turning point for this show. Mm-hmm. It feels a lot better than it did when it first started. Mm-hmm. For me, because most of the show is still terrible, I'm gonna go with a C+, but it does have the potential to be higher.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think for me, this is like one of the stronger C shows this season. Mostly because this show kind of gets me in like my Pooh Shiesty bag. I want it back in blood kind of thing. And I don't even listen to Pooh Shiesty. I'm gonna be real with you, but it makes me understand get it back in blood. So yeah, I'm there now. I am a little, and the thing that makes me so shaky is like, really, I don't really care for many of the characters. Exactly. I get the plot and story, what's driving the motivations and whatnot. The world I don't feel is necessarily developed. It's getting developed, but there's just a lot of missing elements for me. Mm-hmm. But the intrigue of like him getting it back, like I said, that's driving me. So I do think it's like the strongest C show this season with that C+. I think is solid. I would be willing to give it a B-, depending on how this season ends. Right.
And it is solely based off of that. The one problem with failure for him is he keeps going back to the other students. I don't give a fuck about them.
At all.
Care at all about. Luckily, it's not for long, but I don't.
Yeah, they little intermingling beefs and
yeah, it's weird.
I don't even like them going back to the goddess. Like, and I guess that is kind of a point though, right? Mm-hmm. That's a point in the right direction for the show because they want you to not like those people except for the few that you are supposed to like. But that's also the other detractors, like the ones that they're trying to make it seem like they have some duality or they might be likable. You're still kind of like, whatever. I don't care about this character.
The first episode was enough for us to hate everybody.
Yeah.
What would be better is if, what would be better? Damn, I should fucking write an anime. What would be better is if they gave us everything in the first episode and left the other students and the goddess alone. Just left them completely alone and just follow the main character. We don't know what's going on in the world until the main character maybe comes across the students slowly but surely. Students, if he comes across a group, because they're all split up in like their little factions or whatever, he comes across a group of them. He then learns from a student whose ass he kicks about what's going on from that perspective. And then it would just feel better. It would just feel better and more satisfying that way if we just focused on him and his situation while learning what he learns about the world as he learns about it. So I think that would be a better way of telling a story. You know what gets me thinking like that though?
What is it?
It's My Hero. Every time I watch an episode of My Hero, I'm like, fuck, this is just so much. Like, because it's like, it's good, but it could be, it's not good. I'm not going to say it's good. It's decent. I was ready to drop the anime and just pick up the manga, just fucking finish it off and move on with my life. That's how irritating the show is to watch. So it's like, it could just be so much better if they do different shit. Like if you just adjust it slightly, it could be good. Sorry to go on that rant, but
no lie, I think you would feel the same way you feel about Attack on Titan with My Hero.
Really? No, I don't think so. Because the characters can't drop off as hard as they did in Attack on Titan. Like character wise.
No, I guess that's not true.
That's a different type of fall off.
Like that. Yeah, it's a different type of fall off. It's just no, don't even worry about it.
All right, you want to go to TCB?
Too many favorites for real, which is a fact. Mm-hmm. So he said Shoshiman losing heroines. Alya can't find her feeling or. Well, sometimes feelings in Russian. Elusive Samurai, Mayonoka Punch, VTuber Legend, Wistoria, take your pick. Returning shows also keep the heat like Oshi No Ko, obviously, and Nier Automata, obviously. Other shows I'm personally enjoying for my taste have been Kinnikuman, Nikotan, 2.5D Seduction, No Longer Allowed Another World, Shy Season 2, which, yes. And these are just what I'm watching. he got a decent amount of stuff. I don't know how people can think this season is bad or underwhelming at all. There's a bit of something that for everyone this season, much more solid one than spring was for me in some ways. B+ for me easily.
I don't know about that one when it comes to the spring. Maybe.
Let's look at it real quick just to make sure.
Maybe. I'll have to look at spring. Let's do that.
I had to disagree with TCB.
Well, what's up?
Cause the spring was pretty solid. We had if we talk about even without returning, Kaiju number 8. I did like Go Go Loser Ranger. We had Windbreaker, Jellyfish Can't Swim. Well, technically Spice and the Wolf. We had I Was Reincarnated Seven Prince, Reincarnated Aristocrat, Trained to Another World, an Archdemon's Dilemma. You know what I mean? We had some Yada Garasu came out that season. Man, you know, we had some things that came out. Glass of God. Mysterious Disappearances was there. Unnamed Memory was there as well. Yeah, Remonster was there.
Let's take if you could do me a favor while we continue to talk about this. Can you find what we gave spring in the midterms? Because I'm interested in that. But I will agree, like spring was definitely either equal or better. It's either equal or better for me. To go to No Longer Allowed in Another World, I still enjoy it. You said you dropped it after episode. What? You didn't say that yet. But yeah, I still enjoy it. I like it. I can't wait to see what's about to happen next because they just met somebody that's a demon, literally a demon, which is an other worlder that's considered a fallen angel now. Because the problem with this show is that you shouldn't have stopped, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because after I think the 4th episode, it gives you a story thread. Because at first it didn't seem like, I think it was the first 3 or 4 episodes, it seemed like it didn't have a story through thread. But a through thread shows up, and when that shows up, we now have a goal to achieve. And now with what's happening in it, super fucking interesting.
Well, there's always this one thing that I tend to do on this podcast, which I feel like I've done it pretty recently, is I'll take Polow's word for it. I'll be caught up next week in no time.
No, you
just
should.
name it all because it was okay. The second episode, I was just like this. I didn't feel like it was for me.
I can understand that.
And I think I literally dropped it from my list because I just didn't feel like it was for me. But I'll 100% pick it back up if you think at this point it has that story behind it to give it drive and push.
Oh yeah, especially because you remember because when we were talking about it, he was like, I wonder what his power is, and I said he probably doesn't have one. He does. So that's all I'm gonna say to that. So just keep watching it and let me know after you catch up if you still feel the same way, because I do think it's very intriguing. 2.5D Seduction, since I'm the only one watching that, I will agree the show is actually really, 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 really good for one of these shows. It's a high dive, ecchi kind of show, but it's not really it has a story that's very intriguing and characters that you can root for. So I'm going to go ahead and give 2.5D Seduction a B. I like it. I do like it. I think it's a good show. Nice 24 episode season.
And I'll throw in Shy season 2. Shy just has really good characters, bro. Yeah. And it does lean on the hero trope, but it's more of a emotional connection on the hero aspect. I don't think this is a Polow ass anime, but I definitely think it's a Tell ass anime.
I do think what he said too is also, it stands out to me, is I don't know why people think it's a bad or underwhelming season at all, because it's definitely not. It's definitely not underwhelming in the slightest. Like, not even close, to be honest. I really do think this is a great season, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, moving on to Crystal. Crystal says, my favorite outside of my boy love, watch, is probably my sleeper, Dahlia and Bloom. I'm going with a solid B for overall. I got shows that I love, shows that I like, and shows that are just okay, but still entertaining enough to watch. But I do got 2 shows that if something doesn't change or advance, that might not make it further. That being Autry, My Dear Moments, and True Beauty. And True Beauty just started, but I already hate the first episode since I'm currently watching the K-drama that came out way before this anime. The anime took out a lot in the first episode alone. Yeah. I don't see that True Beauty. I don't see that being good, especially if it's based on, this is about to sound rude as hell, but I'm gonna say it. Especially if it's based off of K-drama. Something about the Korean anime outside of Tower of God and Solo Leveling. Something about the Korean animes are just wrong. Like Viral Hit felt so wrong. Everything about it felt wrong. It didn't sit well with me either. But
oh man, Viral Hit.
God of High School. Like some of those just don't be good outside of Tower of God and Solo Leveling for me personally. But
it's the pacing, and they do remove a metric shit ton way too soon. Like, it's okay to skip over some things, like minor details, but it seems like they tend to skip over, and this is only from aspects of people who have watched or discussed it. It seems like they skip over very important things very fast, and then expect just because you watched it, maybe that it means something to you, and that's like crazy, bro. Right?
It's weird. It's very, very weird. But to go to Autry, that one, it just had a turning point episode this week. So if you're watching it, let me go to it. Where is it in my list here? Yeah. So episode 6 was the turning point for this particular episode. So I hope you kept with it, Crystal, because this episode is really fucking good. Now we got to the point where the drama is
finally here.
It's here. So it's weird because I don't know how it's gonna work now that he figured out what he figured out, or she figured out what she figured out. So I'm looking forward to figuring out what's going on with that next. But for that particular show, I like it a lot, actually. Even as it was going, I was still liking it because I like it, the world of it, like trying to figure out what the hell is going on within his world. So for me personally, I think this is a B+. I liked it a lot. I still like it.
So, and while I agree with the world aspect of Autry, I don't like these characters, and I don't know what it is about them, but I just don't find them entertaining.
I don't know if it's about being entertaining more so than being who they are. Right? Like
that could be it. Like I don't like the characters themselves, but the world I do. I get enticed in these moments that they do, because it feels a lot like I'm watching a slice of life in a world that is like we're still discovering it. And that's what I like. I like it feeling like a slice of life where I'm discovering the world. But the characters, I feel like you can just swap them out with anybody, and I would be like, okay. They don't feel like I love them still. And I haven't watched this most recent episode.
Oh, that's where you're missing,
which could change things.
Damn it.
But the world, I agree with. I want to know what's going on, and I was waiting for that turning point, like you said, to really say, all right, now I'm tuned in to say I love this show. So, Crystal, we at the same point, but let's give it this turning point to see what's happening.
It's big. It's big. All right, so let's go to our guy, our Patreon producer, All for One Matt.
All for One Matt, he says, my overall grade for this season has been a B+. Wisteria, Wand and Sword, Love is Indivisible, and Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines, have stood out from the rest in my opinion. Wisteria has been my favorite to watch this season since I've read a good chunk of the manga, and the animation has been on point. As far as returning anime, Tower of God Season 2 has been great, especially I'm so glad as a community we get to hate on Rachel again. Also, Reincarnated as a Slime still slaps from Muru's top 5 Isekai GOAT. This man is about to be swimming in money.
Facts. All for One Matt be spitting. All right, so to go to one that he talked about that he's very intrigued with, Wisteria, Wand and Sword, which is your sleeper. So I guess we're going to the sleeper right now. What do you think?
So there are a lot of things that I liked. And I think they did a good job of kind of like showing the different, especially in this most recent episode, the I mental aspects of people, like how they're viewing things, right? I was uncertain how this was going to go. And I will say this most recent episode, I did not like how the fight necessarily got interrupted. because I wanted a different kind of resolution. I wanted them to figure it out, amongst themselves directly, not have this intermediary kind of sorted out for them. But the show itself, I do like the show. I think I agree the animation is good. I did feel some intensity. I'm not sure if I'm giving it a B+ yet though. And I'm not trying to be hard on it because I do enjoy watching it. It is one of the ones I turn on and I'm like, I can't wait to watch this episode. But a B+, I'm not there yet. I need to see what happens, especially with this actual battle that's coming. But I did like that they kind of threw that monkey wrench in, so to speak, with the fire guy. I like that they threw that monkey wrench in, but it was kind of also, I guess I like it because it was unsuspected. Like I didn't expect it to happen quite that way. I would have assumed that he chose a different place for that matter. But we're gonna see how it rocks after this episode. How are you feeling about it though?
My problem with it is it's a shonen, and this goes to what I believe. So sorry, I can never remember the name of their podcast. But I'm gonna find it now here because I think it's important that I say this. Where is it? I believe it's Three Weebs podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's their podcast, but just talking on Twitter. And our guy, our Patreon producer, our good friend Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast was like, hey, we got another one. And he commented on, Three Weebs podcast. And he said, we got another one talking about too many losing heroines because they talked about how that show is top 5. And I replied and I said, it's top 3 and it's not 2 or 3. and I said that because I do believe that to be so. They said, I can't go that far because of Oshi No Ko and Wisteria being number 1. And it made me think, I'm like, I can't do that. I can't even say it's probably 5 for me in the list. And next week we're probably going to do our top 5 spring so far this season. But I think it's a great show. Great sleeper pick from Till. Great shonen show. But to be honest, it's a shonen ass show. And it still do stuff I hate that shonen does. And that's these unbelievable, unorthodox, unorganized episodes that have filler in it. They like to drag shit out to fill time so they can get to that point where it's the last 15% of an episode, lasts about 5, maybe 6 minutes of an episode where shit starts to pop off and then leave you there and then take you next week because they're just dragging the episode count up more and more because it's typical shonen. They want you to come back next week. This episode, I hate it. I fucking hated this entire episode until the last 15%. And what's the 15% on the test? It's a fucking F because everything was so disorganized and discombobulated. They threw in different past pieces and other fights that just didn't, like, why is Julia's got clones? Like, why is this past piece with Shion's kind of like sharing his past about why he actually hates Will over and over and over again? Like, they repeated it 3 times before he started to fight him seriously. Like, why do we keep doing that? I get it. I get that there is a past history. If you would have showed it once and continued the battle from there, it would have been great. If we would have just focused on the battle instead of showing these clones that Will had disturbing these other contestants, we don't care about the other contestants. They did that just to fill time, just to pad time for this episode to be longer, just so they can get us to that last 15%. Because when they started, and I said this to All For One Matt in the Wisteria forum, I love when they started fighting for real. When Will put on his goggles and he realized what Shion wanted or whatever. When he put on his goggles and they started fighting, and then when it was interrupted, I even liked that part. I love the fact that it was interrupted that way because I thought it was a more intriguing story beat. And then for him to just make it to the stadium by fucking hawk leaping in it, it was fucking cool as shit. But it was everything before that I absolutely hated. It didn't make any sense for it to just be bouncing around like that. To going to the stands to talk about that his roommate who's actually a girl, like we all know that it's actually a girl. Like it's just so much in it that didn't need to be shown that was shown this episode that it does it a lot. Like it's a shonen anime. This is what shonen do to fill that time gap. And I always hated that shit because it just turns it into a discombobulated mess. And I'm only saying that about this episode. However, the show in its entirety is great. Like I like the show. When you were talking, I'm like, this motherfucker is spitting because I cannot give it a B+. I cannot give Wisteria a B+ for those particular reasons. But the show is good. Like it's good. Maybe a B, C minus B, or B minus B is where I could fall, but that's even like being generous. So I'm gonna just put it at C+ though.
Yeah, I can't give it a C nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give it a B. But I can understand all the points because to me that all is solid. And I think that we actually disliked this most recent episode for different reasons. Mm-hmm. But regardless of how it lines up, it still kind of puts us in the same place because it's like, it could have been just overall done and paced better. The conversation was supposed to be different. It was supposed to. It could have been streamlined better. Like I wanted the heat, I wanted the action, but I needed it to not have all the BS in between. Yes,
that's exactly right. Like I was good with them fighting each other, like him popping up and doing that. I was good with that. They don't even showing the pass, but the pass, when they took them 2 minutes to show the pass, I'm like, perfect. That's enough time. We can move on. But then they kept showing it. And then they showed it again.
Grayscale again. Grayscale again. Don't worry.
Exactly. So when they did all that, that's when it became too much. But C+ B is where I'm at. I can give it a B too, just because it's a great sleeper pick from you. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a B too. It's good. B+ is a little too high though. All right.
Yeah, I don't know about B+.
All right, let me go to my guy Frozen, another one of our Patreon producers. He said Wisteria, Wand and Sword gets an easy A. Yeah, we just talked about that. But animation style is some of the best I've ever seen. The combat sequences are great, and they tell him a simple yet captivating story that makes you want to watch every week. The Elusive Samurai, B+. The art style and cinematography is pretty unique and quirky. I love a good period piece. The characters are solid. I believe you mean very interesting in the main antagonist story also. My only knock is that it can be a bit hard to follow. The multiple changes in art style when they're exaggerating the character's inner thoughts and actions. I feel that. And then he says, Dahlia in Bloom, he gets a B. Great fantasy-based slice of life. Absolutely love the crafting aspect of the show. I'm rocking with the MC heavy. She can do no wrong. I'm wishing nothing but misfortune and heartache for the ex-husband.
I swear to God, bro.
Frozen is spitting, man. Oh my God. And he says, failure frame, C+. I'm only here for the get back on all his classmates. Frozen is with us, man. Frozen is with us. And then he says, nobody's way. This is different. A nobody's way to an exploration hero. A nobody's way up to an exploration hero. C+. I'm invested in this journey to level up. I also enjoy the slice of life aspects. Interesting. My God. Okay. I like Frozen's list. Frozen's list is my favorite so far. Minus Wisteria getting an A. And then the animation and stuff on Wisteria, I do want to say that it is great. Everybody's absolutely right about that. It's fantastic animation. But I'm not that.
It's really the angles, what I mean?
They're great.
They got some great angles, but
that never really matters that much to me. You know what I mean? Like it's a part of our review scale, and I do like great animation, right? We talk about Mappa, we talk about Ufotable, we talk about all these great animations through Madhouse, A1 Pictures, but it's whatever. So I don't put that much weight in the animation and stuff.
Let me say this though, real quick. Mm-hmm. The comment on Elusive Samurai and them switching between art styles. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I understand that you've never necessarily been a fan of that because we've talked about it before in different anime where they switch art styles to give like representation.
You're not talking about me. I can't
remember what it was.
You talking about me?
I think we talked about that before. But I love when they do the different like interpretations of like how the people think or whatever, and they switch the art styles.
Me too.
For me, it fits the elusive samurai like concept, because I feel like they set that kind of tone early on. Even with like the perceptions, because like the guy who can only see extremely well, the guy who hears extremely well, like they do these extreme aspects, and I love that in Elusive Samurai. And I don't find it hard to follow either.
Me either. The over exaggeration pieces are the most fun pieces about the show for me personally. The thing I don't like about the series is I don't care that much about the main character. I think he could be a better character. Everybody else around him is great, but the main character itself is kind of poo-poo. But other than that, the show is fantastic. I'm loving it. The way the storytelling is being told is great. It's awesome.
He's Ash Ketchum for retainers.
Well, he's the lure, so he's not necessarily a retainer, but...
Well, I'm saying he's Ash Ketchum for retainers, as in he's getting the retainers.
Oh, yes, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like everybody around him has been dope. I love how they've been fleshing everybody out too as they come across them like slowly. It's been neat, man. It's definitely been a great story. B+ with Elusive Samurai. I am there too. That's exactly where I am with that too.
I would say my knock for it would be I want it to eventually stray away from the retainer of the week. Like, you get the new retainer thing. I'm ready for them. They have to, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. That will be the turning point that I'm ready to see.
And then his Dahlia and Bloom, everything about what he said was fucking fantastic. Like, it's exactly how I feel about it. With the exact same grade, I give Dahlia and Bloom a B as well. I mean, everything he said was verbatim was my exact thoughts. So I can't even add to that. And as well as for that show, I give it a B too. Failure Frame, we already talked about that. And then Nobody's Way Up to an Exploration Hero. That one, I'm watching it.
We there.
You watched it? Okay.
Yeah, we there.
He again was spitting for this one too. There's something about this show. It's terrible. Animations are awful.
It's not good.
It's a lot of wrong with this show, but something about it
fun.
It's fun, man. It's so much fun. It's like a great Saturday morning cartoon it feels like a Saturday morning for kids cartoon. Like, I'm gonna tell you, Byakugan, is that what it's called? Bakugan. Yeah, it feels like that.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. It's because it's not serious at all, and it's like it is straying away from shonen with like these kind of like aspects that it takes. But it's also like it's just not serious. So you turn it on, it's a Polow and Tail anime without being serious. So it's like it's cool. I ain't got no gripes with it. And I know I'm gonna be real. I think a C+ is a little high for it, but I ain't mad at it either, because I feel like if it just turned up a storyline a little bit, I'm like, yep, it's a B.
I mean, to be honest, I'm right there with you. Like, C+ is maybe a little much, because it's just, I don't know. I'll give it a C. Fuck it, I'll give it a C+. Why not? I enjoy it, man. I do enjoy this show. I agree with everything Frozen said almost to a T. Like, no, to a T. I'm invested in his journey to level up, and I also enjoy the slice of life aspects. Slice of life aspects is fun, and I'm rooting for him. I'm not going to recommend it to anybody though, ever. Not never.
Never?
No, hell no, I'm not recommending this show, because then they'll look at my text like, yo, this guy like trash shit. But this is a show that I like. It's weird. It's weird. Not never, but I definitely enjoy it.
It would be crazy to find someone who does like just, this is cool. I enjoyed it.
That's why we talk about it here. And if they say, you know what, I'm going to give it a try, for the simple fact is they gave it a try. But I'm not going to say, go watch it. Is the point.
Right, like, what's that, Dear Time?
Yeah, I'm not touching that. Did you watch it?
I watched 4 episodes of it.
What you think? F. Damn. All right. Last but not least, our guy from Inside the Mind of a Blurred and Shogo Ha.
Today at 8:28 p.m. Central. I'm probably late, crying face.
It's Rob J, by the way.
This is Rob J, our boy. Failure Frame is a solid C, although this latest episode was dope. Ossan Newbie Adventurer A. I really enjoy watching this anime every week. Too many losing heroines. A. Facts. Strongest magician was a human. B. Tower of God, A. Season as a whole for me, B-. And let me just say this about your list.
I like
Rob
it.
J. I like the list here, but I'm gonna say statistically, this don't make no sense. You got an A, an A, an A, a B, and a C, and got a B-. I feel like that don't make no sense. And I mean, if we averaging,
let's average it for them. Let's see.
If an A is a 95%, you got a 95% and 95% and 95% and 85%.
Let's actually Rob J real quick.
And then a 75%. that don't add up in the slightest. That should literally be at the lowest, like a 86 to like an 87%.
Yeah, so yeah, you're looking at regular B or B+ area. No, you're right. Yeah. So we changing your score for you, Rob, all right?
I'm just saying, a B-. Yeah, how we edit that? It say edit it, and you ain't edit it right.
No, we're going to give it a B. We're going to give it a B for you, Rob. We got you. We're going to actually that for you. But no, though, let's go into these. Ossan Newbie Adventure. I really enjoyed watching this one every week. Couldn't agree more. I do enjoy watching it. It was rough at first. It does get better. It's
immediately.
Yeah, it does get better immediately. I like the characters. I like the story. Is this a 24 episode? It just feels like it feels like it's supposed to be a 24 episode season, and I know it's not.
Like a one and done kind of season.
Yeah, it's 12 episodes. I kind of wish it was longer. This one feels like it would have benefited more from being 24 episodes because it feels like it's going a little too slow. But I will say, A is a little high for me. I'm going to go with a C+ for this one. I like it a lot, though. I do like it a lot. It's very C+ B. It's like a 79.5% for me.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm right there at a C+. And the thing is that it is one of the shows I really, really enjoy watching this season. Like, I turn it on and I am excited and enjoy watching it. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did it subvert my expectations? 100%. Because after that first episode and like kind of halfway through the second one, I was kind of like, I don't know. But like I said, almost immediately it changed, and it has been on an upward swing, in my opinion, all the way. A, I still think it's high just because the overall other qualities of the show are not amazing, but the characters, for the most part, I even enjoyed the old man who was the instructor when we had him for a minute, and then they took him to the training station. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many aspects about this show that's just fun. It is overall a fun show, and if we're saying like, is it a fun show to watch? I can see that A. I can see the A for saying this is a fun show to watch.
Yeah, that's true.
But in a much more impartial manner, in a much more let's say I guess we're trying to be a little bit more objective, realistic with our views and objective here. I can't give it an A. I'm gonna stay with that C+.
Agreed. Too many losing heroines. He gave an A. Yeah, it's easy. It's like I said, for me personally, my number one show of this season. And truly, this is the show that we're reviewing at the end of the season, funny enough. But truly, everything about this show, from, again, I know it's kind of hypocritical for me to say this, but animation is fantastic. But the story episodes, the episode stories are always so well done. In particular, episode 4 and episode 6. Oh, is it 4 and 6 or 4 and 5? Let me just. It was episode 4 and it was episode 6. That's right. So episode.
I was gonna say it was episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, you're right. You're right. But the point I'm trying to make. You're right. But the point I'm trying to make is episode 4 in particular was a 10 out of 10 on a Mic Check Waifu scale episode for me, and this one was also a 10 out of 10 episode on a scale for me, because it's like, it's so well structured, it's paced so well, extremely unbelievably paced, like it's incredible. And then as it continues, it's like, shit, I got more of this, you know what I mean? Like every episode feels like a story that, you know what it feels like to me.
What's that?
it feels like when you watch Clannad, after like I think the first half of the first season, when it started going to like individual people's stories and how it gives everything you need within just one episode, and it kind of wraps up a miniature story. It is just has a start, it has a middle, and it has an end, and it wraps up so nicely and neatly. That's what each episode of this feels like. It's so fucking good, good.
It's exactly that.
With a cast of characters you want to root for. Sorry, I had to get that off.
No, you're right. They give us the characters that we're going to be with, right? They've already given us these characters, wrapped them up in a ball and said, boom, these are your characters. These are their heartbreaks. These are what's going on, right? And then they kind of just build their stories out so far as we've gotten them. And that's been one of the most enjoyable aspects of the show, is that like, although like I would not mind having new characters introduced and whatnot, but what makes it so much more like enticing, so to speak, is that we're getting these stories about these characters they've already given us. They already made us emotionally invested in these characters from the first time they introduced these characters, and then they keep building on emotions. This is something we've been dealing with for the last 2 episodes, and that's why this most recent episode was kind of like just, I'm not gonna say it was extreme, but it really pulled on your heartstrings, and it was like serious. It was important. So yeah, bro, the Too Many Losing Heroines. Yeah, I agree. It's an A. It really is an A plus.
Honestly, it's an A plus.
We ain't gotta be with the semantics too much. We know what you meant when you said an A.
Yeah. So, and again, to go back to what 3 Waves says, you know how he put Oshi No Ko and Wisteria ahead of it, which Oshi No Ko I get, but I don't ever count returnings when I do seasonal conversations. So that's why it's a little bit different for me, because I completely understand why Oshi No Ko will probably be number 1 for me as well, but because it's a seasonal returning, it's great. I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna top 5 it because it's a returning, only because it's a returning. I will count it.
A dead horse saying it's an A every week.
Yeah, I am going to count it towards my grade overall, but I am not going to count it for like the season total. But to be honest, yeah, Too Many Losing Heroes. The reason why I say it's number 1, okay, is because it's unique. While it's a slice of life, it's a slice of life told in a way that's very unique to it. It's very Too Many Losing Heroines, and I don't think I know of anything else like it. And that's why for so long, when you talk about my top 10 anime, Golden Time is always there, because Golden Time is the exact same way. It's such a unique take on a slice of life that is intriguing, captivating is the word I think you were looking for earlier, but it's captivating with the characters. Like you're just so invested, and the moments of brevity, like the light moments too, are nice and fun, but it's always has this undertone that's like these kids are hurting, you know, or losing their first love, and it's a story that doesn't really get told that often or this well.
That's true. And it does look amazing. It does sound amazing. It is paced amazingly. It is definitely, it's crazy. If they keep this up, it's gonna be easy review.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Strongest Magician was a human. This is one I'm still watching, and I think it was Rob Stone that said he was thinking about dropping it. I don't know why. Even though it has terrible CGI, it has. I like this one. I like this one a lot. And it's mostly because I love what the MC does. The main character is so dope. Because he's a strategist. And those are always my favorite type of main characters. Like from Log Horizon to this guy, like the way they strategize with what they got to work with is great. And then the way he moves is just dope. Go ahead.
Originally I have no problems overall with this show. It's just one that I felt like I wanted to binge, because I felt myself saying, it's okay.
Yeah, I get it.
I want it more to overall digest. So it's still on my list to watch, but I want to binge it when it's done.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I will say I do love. I like how the character moves, like you said from the beginning. I think I watched 4 episodes, so it's not like I'm extremely far behind. But I do like how the character moves. I just want to see. I want it all at once, kind of deal.
I get that totally. He gave it a B. I'm gonna have to give it a C. C plus actually. I like it a lot, man. It's hard to explain that one, because for some reason it's a Polow and Telliano show, I think personally, that I can't recommend to everybody, but I do enjoy watching it. Tower of God. I guess we can go to something that's returning. Tower of God, he gave an A. I'm going to give a C+. I enjoy it. I like it, but it's just fine.
So, and I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I'm also not going to agree with Rob J. I'm giving it a B- personally. It's something about, like, I think this is a great show. I think it's a great adaptation, even
100%.
But this is one of the like points where when I was reading, I was like, okay, this is okay, and I was so happy to read it because I kind of zoomed past this part in reading. I didn't take too long to digest it, and it feels like they're giving us like every little detail. Which, hear me out, I'm not mad that they're giving us so many details in this, but this is one of those situations where you actually kind of could have jumped over some things a little bit.
I agree.
And got us to the meat and potatoes. But this most recent episode did get to the ending where we're going to start getting some of those meat and potatoes in the next episode and in few episodes even. It's possible that I can upgrade my grade for this one next week, because to be honest, for this one, when I was going through my binge throughout the week, I did not watch the latest 2 episodes. I just wasn't in the mood to look at it, to be honest. So I just didn't. So I'm 2 episodes behind. So it may be better than a C+, but right now it's just a C+. I don't think a C+ is wrong, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's not because I personally enjoy Tower of God. I've read hundreds of chapters of this.
So many.
But I think that the way the season is going, a C+, B- is the right territory. But I'm not saying that it's not enjoyable to watch. It's just, this part of it is just so detail oriented, which is not a bad thing. But we're gonna hop into the aggressiveness and what's getting, even like letting those details truly get exposed, because we've got characters who are introduced who, I guess I don't want to spoil that, but yeah.
All right, let's go into Oshi No Ko. Oshi No Ko season 2 is an A.
It's an A.
Yeah, it's not even a question. No
questions.
I don't even know. We're not gonna have a spoiler talk this week because we're doing a review. But honestly, this is one of the best seasons of anime ever so far.
This most recent episode was insane.
Dude, the last two,
yeah.
Because of the way they're doing this play and they're actually showing the play is fantastic.
Artistry, bro. Artistry.
Perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
I want this 4D stage outdoor. I want it outdoor, bro. I want to go see this.
Me too.
Because, hear me out. They are killing it, bro. It sounds exactly like what I feel like it would be like being at a theater. They give you the crowd clapping. They give you the transitions.
Dog,
it all feels paced like you're watching a play.
When it gets dark, they show the character inside this anime walking off the stage. You can still see them, like if you have a bright enough monitor. You don't need that. You don't need to do that.
All while being in the mindset and listening to how the characters are thinking, bro. Dude, the show was insane. And then it's like I said,
we're an audience member sitting in the crowd watching this play. I love that shit, dog. It's so good. Oshi No Ko is perfect. It's perfect. It's honestly a perfect anime so far. It's
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, so what's frustrating about these lists is nobody had Alya Sometimes Has Her Feelings in Russian, Indivisible by Twins, Days with My Stepsister. Like, nobody had those. We do. We do. But that part is the most frustrating piece about these lists, because these shows are literally some of the top this season, honestly. Like, starting off with Alya Sometimes Has Her Feeling in Russian. It's a top 3 show, and it's not 1 or 3. Personally, it's 2. Alya Sometimes Has Her Feeling in Russian.
Yeah, Alya is great.
It gets an A for me. It's beautiful. Cast of characters is fantastic. Show makes you laugh out loud for real, like out loud in real life. It's that good. Dad Needs to Talk says it seems like it's about to go to Classroom of the Elite route with the most recent episode that dropped. And I can see where he's going. I don't think it will. I think it's just It is neat that they're showing the characters' intelligence though now, and we kind of
slice of life drama.
Yeah, they're kind of going into a little bit more deeply into the story of the main characters, which I fucking love. But this show is fantastic. It's an A. Obviously, it's been perfect, to be honest.
I will also say I appreciate you putting me on to Love is Indivisible as Twins. The last week's episode to me was like my favorite episode of this. Was that
wait?
Was that the big turning point?
Let's continue with Alya though. What's your grade for that?
A.
Okay, sorry. I just had to make sure we got that in.
Okay, yeah. Love is Indivisible by Twins. Last week's episode to me was my favorite episode when they had the kind of like breakdown and conversation of that. That to me, I was like, actually that should have probably been my episode of the week for last week. That
I agree.
That was a beautiful exposition of what I might want in the slice of life for this kind of conversation. It was great. They set the record straight. Ugh, beautiful.
Very good the previous episode.
Either way,
it was you're right. It was the last week before this one.
Fucking phenomenal.
I agree.
Love is Indivisible by Twins. It gets I'm gonna give it A-, but only because like. I'm gonna give it an A because I really don't have a reason to give it an A-. I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah, I don't see why this one isn't liked as well on Annie list. It's a 65 or something, like something ridiculously low. This show is fantastic, man. It has the right amount of drama to where it's not scum's wishy, but it's an A. It gets an A for me because again, the characters are likable, they're different, they're unique. The story is where I find myself more captivated than anything. It's a very different kind of story with a cast of characters. It's like, okay, I'm starting to understand my life in the sense that where it kind of has again, will I be in this situation in real life? No. Mm-hmm. But I will say that you can see it being played in real life with unexperienced young adults, right? Like you could see a situation like where you get with one girl and one girl tells you to leave, and it's a situation where you feel the main character's pain, and now the main character's like, you know what? I'm not gonna say what he said, but I feel him. Like I'm not gonna fuck with this shit. You know, like it's a perfect way of telling this story, and the way they're doing it is brilliant, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
What's your grade?
A.
Okay. Can we talk about your sleeper?
What's my sleeper? Oh,
Shoshi Man.
Yeah. I love this show.
This was a very fun and enjoyable episode. It was just so simple. You know what I mean?
I missed this one, unfortunately.
You missed this episode?
This week, yeah.
Oh,
it was supposed to be today, but I was laid out.
Oh my goodness, brother. This was such a fun and enjoyable episode. It was refreshing because you really only had two characters this whole episode. And it was this fun little mental challenge and this relationship. It was great. This show, I only give it an A- because like not everybody is as enjoyable as our main characters, or not every situation is enjoyable as what they have together. But this episode is what would give it, like if every episode was like this show is an A+. This episode was crazy in my opinion, and I'm very disappointed that you didn't watch this.
I'm sorry I missed it too. I forgot that it came out this today because I was in the bed, man. It was a hard time getting out.
This for me was the best episode so far, and I know I could be the only one thinking this was a phenomenal episode. But this episode just had so much. It was fun. It was everything that I've wanted for the build up of this episode of this anime so far. Just and it's not. I'm not saying that to like make it this like grandiose gesture of what was happening. Sure. It was a very subtle, relaxed episode. You don't have to be like tuned in, holding onto your chair to watch the episode. You could turn this episode on and not even realize what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean?
That's how this whole show's been.
That's how good this episode was for me. Like if you were not paying attention, it was just an episode. But if you were paying attention, you were like, yeah, I love this episode. So yeah, Shoshimen, I'm giving it an A as well. It was a great episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an A for everything. I fucking love this show. It's so intriguing to learn to go through these little journeys with situations that's not that big of a deal, at least so far, right? None of this shit is a big deal, but the way they break everything down, they figure everything out. It's so creative, man. And it, again, something about these strategists, is always been my favorite. And the way they move is great. And again, the two characters, both fantastic. And the way we kind of learn about each of their past and why the show is called How to Become Ordinary. It's great. It's fucking great. I can't wait to see how they become ordinary or try to become ordinary. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic show. So that gets an A for me as well. Moving on to I Parry Everything.
Oh my God. I hate this show.
I like this show a lot, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. It's getting better and better and better as it goes on.
This most recent episode?
Fighting the guy, right?
The knife dude?
Yeah. I like it. It's a C+. It's not too special, but I enjoy the characters. The characters is carrying the show for me. Well, at least Nori is.
I can give the show a D+.
Damn.
I don't like this show.
Crazy.
Okay. I see why you're saying. Yeah, D+, bro. I'm sorry. I can't.
Hey, understandable, bro. Well, I don't understand it, but you got reasons.
It's because I'll tell you 100%. I'm watching it still. I'm still watching it, so I can't say like I'm completely turned off from it. Mm-hmm. There's something I like about him being an OP parry person, but it's like I hate the aspect of him still acting as if like he can't. I'm watching the show. I'm like, bro. The first episode, you parry every sword within a mile. Stop acting like you can't do things. I'm ready for it to get better.
I get it.
So it's a D+, bro. I wouldn't recommend. I'm gonna keep watching it. And I'm saying there's something in it that has stuck to me to where I'm still watching it. You know what I mean?
You want to see him just win. I think, but that's about it because everybody else around him sucks too. It's so many miscommunicated pieces that it does get very annoying to deal with a lot of the times. Like, how don't you realize anything in his world? Like, you're fighting a black dragon, he's calling it a frog. Like, there's shit that's like very annoying with the way he's moving. Almost Ossan, like the first two episodes of Ossan level of ignorance. Right. That's kind of frustrating. Like, you're 30 something years old, I think, or something like that, where it's like, you got to know something. You can't be this clueless, even if you don't adventure. So I don't know, maybe you're right. I'm drop my score down to a C. I'm bringing that down to a C because you spin. But quick grade for Cafe Terrace and Its Goddess season 2. I love this show. Again, I'll talk about it all the time. Very quintessential quintuplets-esque. Great cast of characters. Very funny. I'm gonna give it a C+. Yeah, because this is way better than I Parry Everything. So yeah, I Parry Everything a C. Cafe Terrace C+. I already gave a score to 2.5 D. Our Last Crusade got indefinitely delayed. So
oh yeah, man, and that show is actually kind of enjoyable too, bro.
I've been enjoying it too.
It's one of those ones that like I'm very happy that it did have a return. And then you kind of just hop right back into the midst of it. Man.
And it got delayed because it was looking, as the episodes continued, it just kept looking more and more terrible as far as like the animation goes. So they had to do something because the shit was turning into 7 Deadly Sins. It was getting bad. Days with My Stepsister. One of my favorite shows. It's, again, here we go. How can I do this? It started off with the situation being what it is. It started off as like, what's that show, Haji Hero?
Okay, yeah.
It started off feeling like Haji Hero, where it wasn't going to cross that line.
Oh, no.
right? As it's continuing, it still hasn't crossed that line yet. However, there's some inklings of something that's might be a little strange. But when I say that the inklings of it being a little strange is so, when I tell you it's the best it's ever been told, like the best writing, again, I talk about the show's writing all the time, the best writing I've ever seen in a show like this. Because everything you're like, damn, this is so good. I love the fact that it likes to bask in its silence. It's okay with being quiet. It's okay with you sitting for 2 minutes without making a fucking sound. And it's such a unique anime, honestly. One of my favorite this summer for sure. I think if I had to put it somewhere for the new shows, it'll be number 3, probably. It's that good for me. I'm really enjoying it so much.
So that's an A?
That's an A, yeah, of course. Another main character that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic main characters. I can't wait to see where it goes. And that's why I like it so much. When I get the feeling of shit, I can't wait till the shit drops, which is in 3 days from the time we're recording this. I can't wait till it drops. As soon as it drops, I'm watching it. Boom. And it just feels good. It looks great. I like it. What you feel?
I'm not watching Days of My Stepsister.
Oh my God, you got to, bro. It's so good. It's truly so good. It's one of my favorites, bro. It's so good. All right. I'm still watching My Wife Has No Emotions. This is a D.
It is a D. But hear me out. It's one of them shows. It's another one of them shows where it's not good. We ain't never said this show was good in the beginning. I told Polow when I started the show, I was like, yo, bro, you gotta watch this. I did not say it was good.
It's not good at all. And I don't know why I'm still watching it, but I turn it on every week. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's not good in the slightest, bro. Oh man.
But I turn it on every week.
Just in hopes. In hopes that I don't know that it loves flops or something.
Yeah, I know. At one point I was excited because I thought something was about to happen, but nope. Literally just a waste of my time. It has a 60% on Analyst.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's a big
deal.
Whoa, pause. I think that's it, right? Finally.
Did we do Why Does No One Remember in Another World?
No, we didn't. That part I had to cut out of the podcast earlier.
My bad.
No, but I cut it out, so they didn't know. Why Does Nobody Remember in Another World? It's a D. Yeah. It's not good, but I'm going to see it through to the end because I need to know what the hell this is. It's not good at all.
I agree with the D. It is one of my least favorite shows to watch this season. But yeah. Code Geaus.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a C+.
Okay, better than I thought.
And I didn't like it to begin with, but it actually is better. It's better. It's a C+. It's worthy of a C+.
Okay.
And a lot of it is that it's not so much about an individual character. It's much more about the group of characters. There's stuff I still don't quite like. I feel like there's just not enough cohesion, but it's getting better. So C+. What else?
They're never going to capture the spark that Code Geass had. I don't even know how to even try. It doesn't have that. Yeah.
And the thing is like I said, the conversation is you don't need Lelouch for it to be a good Code Geass series. And while I say I can understand and agree with that, it just doesn't have that same flair. Are we including Yatagarasu in this?
No, hell no.
I was gonna say because
that's last season.
What else?
I think that's My Hero. My Hero gets a C.
C. I'll stick with a C as well.
Yeah, My Hero definitely gets a C.
Anything else?
It's a better season than 4 and 5, but it's not a season 6.
Oh, Monogatari B.
Oh, Monogatari, that's right. I gotta finish.
You're not watching. I know you're not watching it, but it's actually Monogatari. But so it's not done yet, obviously. But as of where it stands right now, I'm giving it a B.
Like that. All right. So with that, that's all of it. What is your overall score for this season?
So, ironically enough, with the mix of low scores and extremely high scores that Slice of Life has provided us this season, I end up right at a B.
Yeah, I think that's where I am at too. Maybe a B minus, I think. But I do think we're at B's or B pluses, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's a really good season.
It is actually, and while this season, it's kind of funny. This season has given me the same thing. Like I said, I watched Paranoia Agent. This season has given me that same kind of aspect that you said it gave, is that you kind of want to watch more.
More, yes.
And is that because the season has just so many different things that are really good? And it's odd, right? Because there are things that this season that has, it's really bad, but we still are compelled to watch it. You know what I mean? And that's rare.
Yes.
It's very rare to have a season where things are bad and you're like, no, I'm still going to watch the bad. I'm still going to watch the bad stuff.
That's exactly right. Because that's exactly what it is. Because I still want to watch the terrible D's and C's for some reason. I don't know. It's the want to watch more. This season makes me want to watch more stuff. Like I was able to watch so many different series this season and just finish up some stuff I didn't complete, only because I would watch something, it'd come out, I would watch it like, damn, I kind of want to watch some more anime. That's how I feel after I watch even episodes of stuff that I didn't like. That's how I feel. To be fair, last season you gave Spring a B and I gave Spring an A minus. So in terms of seasons, very equal. Very equal.
Close.
Very close, But I can see that. I can see that. So to say that it's less than Spring is valid depending on what you're looking for. And I think it's because of the Slice of Life. Slices of Life is carrying.
It is. The Slice of Life is carrying the season for sure, except for Dear Chan.
God, I wish you watched Days with My Stepsister. It's so good, bro. It's so good. All right.
I'll let you finish it. I'll take your word for it.
It's
you know how I am. I'm going to take your word for it, bro. I'm going to take your word for it.
You would like it, too. That's the funny part. All right. Let's get to know Mic Check Waifu real quick. I believe it's my turn to read the question and your turn to roll the random number generator.
You do it.
Ready whenever you are, brother.
I wasn't prepared. I was talking about other stuff. It's 86. One of my favorite numbers.
One of my favorite series. What's your favorite anime about adventure? Favorite anime about adventure. That's a tough one for somebody who hates shonen.
Let's browse real quick.
Right? Genre adventure. Favorite anime about adventure.
So, and hear me out. Some of these don't necessarily seem like adventure anime.
ReZero.
Yeah. I feel like that's a given, but I'm trying to look at
Jobless Reincarnation.
What feels like an actual adventure. Ooh, no, you know what?
Made in Abyss might be it.
And I'm gonna say Made in Abyss because it feels more like an actual going on an adventure.
I agree.
It feels like like they're actually setting out on an adventure is what I mean to say.
I agree. Yep.
Whereas like ReZero, he got summoned into an adventure, so to speak. You know what I mean?
True.
He's a kite in. So yeah, I agree. Made in Abyss, bro, that's the one.
100%. That's definitely. And then, yeah, no, that's definitely the one. Made in Abyss for sure for me as well. All right, we're going to take this quick break. When we come back, we are going to review Alderamin Minion into the Sky, or whatever it was. We'll be right back after these. And welcome back to episode 265 of My Check Waifu. Make sure you rate us on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere you're listening to us. Like the video if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate that. Those who do. All right. For the uninitiated, every mid-season we do a review of anime. And this season was recommended by All For One Man, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the episode. We are reviewing an anime called Alderamin on the Sky. It's a military strategic anime. Came out the year 2016, the summer of 2016. It's 13 episodes and dubbed and done. It's on at Crunchyroll, Prime Video. Let's get to it. All right. Alderamin on the Sky, Tell. Before we, let me explain how our review works for those who are uninitiated. For the uninitiated, the way our review scale works is like this. We rate 5 categories. The 5 categories that we rate is animation, sound design, pacing, plot, and characters. We rate those 5 categories by giving it a score on the 20-point scale. So, for example, 1.5 or 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, etc. Then we take those averages from each hosts of those scores, average them together, then you get our individual scores, and we take our individual average and we put those together to give you an overall Mic Check Waifu score. You will understand it as we start to review, but yeah, let's see what we feel about. How do we feel about Alderamin Dominion? That's fucking Elder Scrolls.
That was great.
What was your overall thoughts on this show? Let's start there.
I would say overall my thoughts are good. I do think I have some mixed feelings, but overall it's good. I think that this show has something. It had a lot of aspects that I would enjoy, like the strategic thoughts of it. I even like most of the main characters, like the main character group. But there were other things that were, I guess, a little stifling to the show. But very, very much so. Like there were, I enjoyed most of it. To be completely fair, it was just other parts that kind of fell a little bit more flat for me. But yeah, I think it was a worth watch, and I would even, I think there's a few people I could even recommend this to.
It was very disjointed, very lackluster, very incomplete, and I liked it. At first, I watched most of it with my lip turned up. Once you get to like the first 4, the way the beginning, you're confused. What's the reason for the little spirits? It's not. There's a lot wrong with this show. However, I did enjoy watching it. I didn't hate watching it. I watched it all probably in one day, I think, if I remember correctly. So I was able to watch all 13 episodes, and I was enjoying it for the most part. It was dubbed. The dub was nice. It was actually really, really, really good dub. And a pretty good cast of characters, but there was just so much that it got, again, I say this a lot, but it stood in its own way a lot. A lot of shit just like, where are we? And it was a mess. It was a mess for the most part in that aspect. But when shit got going, it was good. Mostly because of the strategic aspect of it, right? Like it was the main character being who the main character was. It was great.
But that was really like the last 4,
exactly,
maybe 5 episodes. Which
that's why
it's not a majority of that season.
Exactly. That's why I was so disjointed. Let's get into it. So, starting with animation. Animation is the art style, visual direction, scenery, overall viewing experience of this show. What would you rate this anime's animation?
It was very consistent, but it wasn't over the top. It was to me very average, consistent, decent animation. So I gave it a 7.
It was unimpressive, unintuitive. It was only cool when the old sword girl, what was her name? What's her fucking name?
Yatoro Shino or Shino Yato.
Yeah, the redhead girl. When she was doing her sword thing, that was the only time that the animation for me was decent. I gave it a 6.
Okay.
Very much below average for me. Sound design. Sound design is soundtrack composition, sound effects, and how well it tied with the visuals. It's probably, for me personally, the least the least impressive part. None of it I remember. It was very forgettable. Again, I didn't find it to be good. However, the voice acting in both the sub, because I did listen to both the sub and the dubbed, was very, very good. Very good casting of the characters for 2016.
I would have to say
I gotta finish, brother.
Oh, my bad.
You good. You good. It was the dub was great. There is, again, music composition stuff very forgettable. Didn't get too special by it. Wasn't too impressed by it. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 5 for the sound design. I'm beating this show's ass. I'm sorry, but the sound wasn't there for me. It was middling. I can't remember it. It wasn't that good. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Yo.
That just was that.
No, I didn't think the sound design was nothing special either. I thought it was a very average. I thought it was a very okay sound design, voice acting, all of that was very okay. I gave it a 7.
7 is more than okay, but I got you. All right.
I'm saying like it was like it. I've heard worse. You know what I mean?
Did you? Pacing, episode to episode strength and continuity. How well the story developed and unfolded as the series went on. Tell.
This was my least favorite part of the show.
Really?
I think this might be the only part that Polow and I agree on.
Really?
Yeah. Because I thought the pacing was like basically dog water. And I say that because of what you said, is that it felt disjointed in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then it had a moment where it picked up, but even that did not have like a ton of consistency. So I gave that a 6.5.
Wow. 0.5. Yeah, the beginning was rough. It kind of, this show fast forwarded so many times. The time passed. It's like, okay, we're gonna execute this operation, and we gotta execute this operation in 6 days. Okay, there's 2 days left before this operation is completed in the next scene. Mad confusing. What the fuck was going on there? Like, why was the pacing so all over the place? However, episode wise, it was fine, right? Like when you go from one episode to the next, it was fine. Albeit again, it still just felt weird. We were jumping months and days and months within that same episode, but it didn't feel bad to binge. You know what I mean? If I wasn't binging it, then it probably would be worse to me than a 6.5. But I agree.
Okay, I was gonna say, I can see that. I can see if we were not binging this, like if we had to watch this week to week, I would probably be like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, this should have probably been like a 4, but binging it made it a little bit easier. All right, so next up is plot. Plot is the overall story and how well it was written, how well the story resonated with us, the viewer. Now, this one was probably the better part of it. Again, pacing was terrible. It was all over the place with the jumping around and how many days they were doing stuff and shit like that. But the plot itself, the character's background, which I believe that goes with the characters as well, so this is kind of slight spoilers for that review for me as well, are the best things about the show. I did like the plot more than anything, though, because of what it did with the world building, right? It focused on a lot of world building and the different factions and people really well. It only focused on one side because it was the side we was on for the most part. But when they started to introduce like the church and the I forget I'm gonna call them wildlings because I forget what they were called. But the beast tribe people or whatever, they were those tribes were great. Like everything that revolved around the storytelling in itself was great. I wish it was paced better, because if it was paced better, then this plot could have been accentuated on top of that. But because it was paced so terribly, the plot suffered as well, which makes me give it a 7.
Yeah, so I agree. The plot, it had some very interesting points, but like Polow said in the beginning, because of the disjointedness of how some of this kind of took place with the pacing, and even with like some of the like flashbacks being some of my favorite parts.
Oh my god, yes.
Which is kind of like wow, right?
Ironic, right?
It jumped around so much to where it made the plot almost jarring sometimes, but it feel like you were like, yeah, tuned into the actual plot of it. So I also think the plot was one of the better points, and I gave it a 7.
Yeah. So moving on to the characters. Again, better than everything else for me, character wise. Like, there was one moment where a character died, and I was sad about it, and we didn't even know her that much. I was so sad still though, because she was a great character. So the one thing I think they did even better than the plot for me was the characters. I did like who the strategic guy was. I did like the people around him. I thought I was going to hate the people around him, but the people around him was what made the show more tolerable than anything else for me personally.
Yeah.
And for me, that holds a lot of weight. Like you said, the backstories of these characters was fantastic. The only character I didn't like as much was the princess. That was the only one I didn't like as much, but we didn't get enough of her to even for that to even matter. But for me, the characters got an 8. I enjoyed them a lot, actually.
That is crazy. I ain't even gotta look at my list. That's exactly what I gave it. I gave the characters an 8.
That's funny.
But hear me out. What's so funny is that I think they did an excellent job of introducing characters, but making them stick in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah, not all the characters were amazing characters. Like they weren't like 10 out of 10 characters, but they did a great job of making the characters stick and with the things that held the show back, like the pacing and disjointedness of it. The characters still has some like validity to them. They still have some weight to them. Yeah. So yeah, I gave the characters an 8 out of 10 because they were the main factor for staying, if we being 100% honest. So yeah, I gave the characters 8 out of 10.
All right, Tel, what do you think your individual score was? I don't know if you averaged it on your own or not, but what do you think yours was?
I didn't average it out yet. It's a 7.2, maybe
7.1. Well done.
Okay.
My score 6.5.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So let's go through it and talk about it and average it all out. So for me, I gave animation a 6, was unimpressed. Tel gave it a 7. He said it was average. Sound design, I gave it a 5. It was the least memorable part about the show. And if I can't remember anything about it, not a sound of it comes to my head when I think of the sound design outside of the voice acting, you get a literal mid 50% 5 for me. Tel gave it a 7. He said it was average as well. Pacing, probably it was a little bit better than the animation and sound design, but it was still bad. 6.5 for both of us. Plot was better than the rest of the show. Still wasn't great, so we gave it an average of a 7. Both of us. Characters got an 8, which was the absolute best part of the entire show. Even characters that you weren't supposed to like, you didn't like. Great cast of characters. Which brings my total to a 6.5 and Tel to a 7.1, which brings our overall score to what, Tel? Guess.
6.7.
6.8. Is this our new lowest show that we've ever heard? No, it's not. 91 Days is still worse.
There you go.
So, taking a look at everything we reviewed.
That's crazy.
It's really crazy. I think I'm gonna drop a link. I already put it in. I think I'm gonna drop a link for all this show, like this list that we have of everything we reviewed inside the show notes. Like I'm gonna make this shareable.
Yeah.
Obviously not editable, but shareable. So I'm gonna share it. Okay. Yeah. So that's
Alderamin on the sky.
Alderamin on the sky. Alderman on the sky.
Alderamin on the sky.
You know, as harsh as I was on the score, I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
I liked it, even though it seems like I didn't.
It had moments that were like highlights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Again, it was just shit that I didn't understand. The spears being there was not needed.
You didn't need them at all.
They was needed for like 1 point. And then it was like, what?
They were accessories.
Look, oh my God, even less than.
They were power systems, but you didn't need them.
Yeah, like it was useless for them to even be there, to be honest. Like
you could literally say they had technology.
And then to think about it, it was only for like the Beast Tribe people, right? Or whatever the Wild Tribe, whatever they were called. It was only for them, and that was 3 minutes where they showed them locked up, and then they showed her like, well,
like
I need to take her.
And a half of them.
Yeah, it was fucking rough. It was not necessary. All right, so let's talk about everything that we've reviewed. Did that really only say? Did we really only take 16 minutes to? There's no way, right?
It'd be like that sometimes.
That was a 16-minute review. All right. So let's take a look at everything we reviewed.
Simple and clean like Kingdom Hearts.
Starting from the bottom. 91 Days got a 6.4. What's this shit called? Alderman on the Sky. I forgot to put the name. I just put the score like a doofus. Got it.
You can type it in, bro.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Alderman on the Sky, 6.8. Banana Fish, 7. Can't see because 7.3. Love Flop, 7.45, which is still very interesting. Suzume, 7.75. Dr. Stone, 7.8. 29 is Tokyo Revengers at 7.85. 28 is My Hero Season 4, 7.9. That's so high. That's so high. I wish I remember what the scores was for My Hero Season 4. That season sucked. Gangsta at number 27 at 7.95. 26 was Chivalry of a Fell Knight at 7.95. 25, Bungo Stray Dogs at an 8.4. 24 was Invincible at 8.45. Link Click at 23 with an 8.45. Darwin's Game at an 8.5. Made in Abyss at an 8.5. So low. Entertainment District arc for Demon Slayer was an 8.5. Swordsmith Village arc was an 8.65. The Vox Machina anime was an 8.6. Steins Gate was an 8.65. Aka 13, 8.7. What a great show that was. Erased at an 8.75. Beastars at an 8.85, which is Telfault. Demon Slayer is an 8.8. Which is season 1, obviously. Bottom tier character season 2 at 8.95. That's an appropriate score. Windbreaker at a 9.2. Arcane at a 9.2. Vinland Saga at a 9.25. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash is a 9.3. Fire Force 9.35. My Teen Romantic Comedy Series 9.45. A Place Further Than the Universe, great show. If y'all haven't seen that, watch it. 9.7. JJK season 1 9.8. Clannad 9.8. Astra Lost in Space 10. Summertime Rendering a perfect 10. With our Hall of Shame being our first only negative review, Demon Lord Retrial, negative 7.75. All right. That has been our review of Alderman on the Sky. See, now, this is my final thoughts on Alderman on the Sky, right? Objectively, the review score says a lot, 6.8. This is the only 6.8 that I would recommend watching, like Tell said earlier. Like Tell said, there's a few people I can recommend this to. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You can recommend this show, and I think people would still enjoy it. But it's not, objectively speaking, it's not that great. Now, so look at our list. You know how you can have friends on any list. Make sure you add us on any list if you want. Just search Polow, Bornfly, and King Telliano. But Fear, he completed it with us and he reviewed it with us. He said, guess what he gave it, Tell?
What's that?
He gave it a 6.5.
There you go.
On his Annie list review. So we're all in the same place. However, I will watch it again. Or if they came out with a season 2, I'll be there. I should say.
Yeah, they need a season 2. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I feel like there's just some things that.
I mean, we're left at it was supposed where it left off at. It's supposed to be like core 2 type deal, because it left off like, okay, now it really begins. This is where it's stopped, and there's nothing else exists. So
exactly, yeah.
All right, Tell. I'm at Polow Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Telliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Might Check Waifu on Twitter and at Might Check Waifu Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And as always, Might Check.
Mic check, waifu waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?